Take a little detour because I got to give this man his due. I'm reading a story in The Athletic here. It says, Auriemma at 70 is arguably the greatest basketball coach to ever live. And he joins us right now on the Comcast Business Hotline, the great coach for the UConn Huskies who just set the all-time record for wins for a head coach in basketball, college basketball, Geno Auriemma. Geno, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike. You know, typical Philly stuff, right? You got to scream and yell that I'm the greatest of all time. Now 15 knuckleheads from Norristown are going to call him back and go, no, he's not. He's a dumbass. Blah, blah, blah. Why are you starting this stuff?
I'm just reading from this glorious story here. 1,217 wins, 88% of your games. I mean, it's amazing. And you passed the great Tara Vanderveer, of course. Geno, I got to ask you, like, this is a legendary career. I mean, let's face it. You were the standard, and you still remain the standard for this sport for a really long time. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about the launching point that got you all the way to this point?
I don't know how to feel, to be honest with you, Mike. I mean, it just kind of creeps up on you after a while. You just keep doing the same thing every day. You know, I woke up Thursday morning and I didn't feel any different. You know, it's not like anything changed or my life all of a sudden, you know, there was a glow. It just kind of, it happened. And don't get me wrong, I'm thrilled that it happened. And I'm thrilled for all the people that made it happen because, you know, there's some people that were celebrating at the game that played for me years and years ago that people forget that they had a piece of this. So I'm thrilled for all the people that touched it because they get a chance to own it.
Geno, you created the standard for women's basketball dominance. I mean, much like UCLA way back in the day, UConn created the standard. Now, you know, Tennessee got in there and South Carolina gets in there, but you still have maintained that standard of excellence. So what was the secret? How did you build a program like that?
It's on the back of people's talent. You know, you constantly attract the best. They want to come and play here. They understand the challenges of playing here, that it's exceptionally hard to play here. But at the end of the day, you get more from playing here than you get anywhere else. And so we get the best people. We challenge them, you know, and we never stop challenging them. From day one, we haven't changed, Mike. You know, I coached this team the way I coached when I was at Kenrick with Martelli. You know, I haven't done anything different. It's just been the same every single day. And I guess that consistency is evident, you know, in all the players and everything that we've done.
Yeah, but you obviously when the ball's rolling, it's easier to attract those type of players. But you had to start somewhere, and I'm just curious what your blueprint was to attract the early players to build the program. Like, what did you have some list of things that you wanted that you thought were the best thing to do as a head coach?
No, you know, I heard something really good recently, and it was this. It's like when an opportunity comes, you know, you're ready for the opportunity, but you're not ready for the actual job. So I didn't know what was going on. That was the first time I was a head coach in my life. So I kind of went back to my roots, and I said, okay, we can't get the best players. We have nothing to offer. We don't have any of the privileges of we're located in a great area. We have great tradition, and our schools, you know, renowned all over the country. Our facilities we had none of that. We were recruiting kids from high schools whose schools and the facilities were better than where they were going to come. So all we did was just offer them, hey, listen, take a chance. Take a chance, come play here, and see what happens. And I'll tell you what turned it around for us, really. There's a bunch of kids from the Philadelphia area. We ended up getting like 6 kids, you know, Megan Patterson from Bucks County, Wendy Davis from Birdsboro, Debbie Bear from Red Lion, Stacy Wetzel from down around Kennett Square. Like, we got these kids, and they came up, and they were freshmen, and boom, they just had an immediate impact, and we won the Big East Championship. And that allowed us then to go to the Final Four. And even though we lost, we felt like if we could start recruiting better players, then we have a chance to be really, really good. And and then Rebecca Lobo came, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, so you charmed those Philly kids with your Philly accent. That's why they came in the first place, right?
Oh, hell yeah. They thought, like, they come up there. Now, don't get me wrong. They weren't exactly the kind of Philly kids that walk around like they own the place. I mean, nobody from Birdsboro or Red Line's walking around like I own the place. I mean, let's not get carried away.
I hear you. Your career is fascinating to me. Bishop McDevitt High School, and you start your coaching career there. And then St. Joe's as a women's assistant, and then Kendrick with Martelli, and that's where I first met you. You guys had an amazing chemistry together, and then you go to Virginia, and I guess that was your big break, right?
Yeah. I'd never been out of Philly. I'd never been on a plane. I didn't know where the hell I was going or what I was doing. So, and I thought the world began and ended. At the Delaware River and the Schuylkill River and nothing else. So when I left and I got to Virginia, a whole new world opened up of not just basketball, but of what was possible out there. What existed out there, and I really learned probably more in those 4 years about how to build a program, how to run a program, how to how to manage all the things that go into, because it was a big school, it was a big job, and and the people that were down there at the time, Terry Holland and Dave Odom and Craig Littlepage and Larinaga, and these guys were like unbelievably good. Seth Greenberg was there too, but we can't count him.
Yeah.
So it was unbelievable.
So was Dawn Staley there when you were there or not?
No, she was too young.
Okay,
she was still in high school at the time.
Yeah, she missed it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the Italy part, because I love the story. You come here when you're 7 with your family, and you're from a region.
Yeah. Hey, how about this? 63 years ago today.
Wow.
November 22nd, 1961.
You arrive in America.
Yes.
All right, so where is Montella? You're from Montella. Where is that?
It's right outside Naples, about an hour and a half maybe into the mountains.
Ooh.
Like a little village, like Appalachia or something.
All right, so you didn't hang out in Naples with your parents kept you away from downtown Naples. So you teach yourself English?
Well, I went to school. And, there was a elementary school right across the street from where I lived in Norristown on Buttonwood Street, and I would go there and play with whoever was there. And I'll tell you where I think I learned it, Mike. When I went to school, it was second grade in November, and I walked in, and my aunt took me there, and I didn't speak a word of English. And the teacher said to my aunt, she said, "Listen, tell him that in June, all the really smart kids go to third grade and all the dumb ones stay back and do second grade all over again." And I'm like, damn. And I'm like, what am I going to do? Go home and ask my mother and father? Neither of them could read or write. So I just learned, like when I was 7, like, shit, you better figure this stuff out, man. And you're going to have to do it. And the people that helped me do it were the kids on the playground.
Wow.
That's how I learned.
That's a great story. And so you have no hint of an Italian accent, by the way. But do you speak the language? you got rid of the Italian accent. You speak the language.
You know what? Yeah, I do. But what happens is when you come before your teens, you don't have an accent. When you come in your teens, it's kind of hard because you've already developed too much of a way of speaking.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Let me just ask you a couple quick questions about women's basketball, which is it's burgeoning now. And then just quickly on your fandom of Philadelphia sports here. Women's basketball has shot through the roof now, especially now with the WNBA and the Stars. And there was this conversation last year about whether you had the better player, Paige, or whether Caitlin Clark was the better player. And I know that was probably you wanted to kind of stay out of that. But when you saw the Caitlin Clark thing going to the WNBA and the doubters and all that, and how hard it was for her to, what was your opinion of that?
Well, during the season, those two are completely different kids, and they actually played together on a USA basketball thing. And when they were both freshmen, Paige was the National Player of the Year. People forget that. Paige won every award as a freshman when both her and Caitlin were freshmen. And then, Paige got hurt, and she's not in the limelight anymore. And to her credit, Caitlin just starts doing crazy Pete Maravich stuff, and everybody was fascinated by it, including me. Like, the kid was doing – somebody asked me, what's she like? I said, Pete Maravich. I said, nobody's done that. The things that she does, from where she does them, all that stuff. And then when she went to the league, somebody asked me, and I said, look, she's on the wrong team. And everybody goes, oh, blah, 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 blah. I said, they need her to do too much. So she's not going to look good. And they're going to try to beat her up because that's what they do to rookies. But I said, eventually, when she figures it out, she's going to be amazing because she's got an elite skill set. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
and I'm not surprised by it.
It's amazing how many dollars there were for her for whatever reason. I don't know whether it's sociological or whatever. But you're right. She has kind of bursted through that. All right, the Eagles have a big game Sunday, Geno. I know you're a big Eagle fan. You're a big Birds fan, big Phillies fan, just like Martelli. You two are nuts about the Phillies. So talk to me about the Eagles and what you're seeing.
Well, in the beginning, I didn't like what I was seeing the first couple games. I was like, Jesus, this is like a carryover from last year. But, maybe that's better than the way they've done in the past, to run out to 10-1 or whatever. So they started building this thing slowly, and it was really fun to watch. And the defense kept getting better and better, and, they got healthy. And I'll tell you, you can't dismiss the adding Saquon Barkley just changes the whole thing. And, I mean, he wasn't the only one either the other night. I mean, they were great. But I just think that's a dimension that very few teams – I mean, he's like a Christian McCaffrey kind of guy, right? I mean, holy moly. So now you add that to the receivers they have, and as I said, the defense is getting better. Jalen Hurts, he learned right away in the NFL. When you're good, they put you in the Hall of Fame, and then you have 2 bad games, and they want you out of the city. Let's say, welcome to Philly, man. That's the way it works down over there, right?
It does.
He's a stoic guy. He's a stoic guy.
Well, Geno, he's Penn State bred. Yeah. Come on, he's Penn State bred. Of course, he's a stoic guy. Yeah, he's older.
No, I'm talking about Hurts.
Hurts. I thought you were talking about. Okay.
Yeah. No, Hurts is they had him in the Hall of Fame when he went to the Super Bowl, and now they wanted to throw him out of town. He's a stoic guy, and I hope somewhere in his football mentality, he's a little bit of a prick. Excuse my language. Somewhere where he just gets pissed off, but he doesn't show it. But I think there's some of that, and I can't wait for that to come out because I think they have a chance to be pretty special.
That is awesome. That is so Philly, what you just called him. Jesus God. All right, so I got to ask you about the head football coach because we go back and forth here. My partner Bill here is a Sirianni worshiper. And Bill's Italian as well. I don't know if it's because of the I at the end of the name, but what do you think of Nick Sirianni? As a coach, when you look at him, what kind of a coach do you see?
Well, same thing, right? I mean, he comes in and they're phenomenal, and it just stuff happens, and I don't know that any. Listen, I've always said this: no coach is as good as everybody says he is, and they're never as bad as they say you are. So it still comes down to the guys have to perform. The guys have to go out on the field and perform. Now, having said that, there's no more important job in all of sports than head coach in the NFL. I can't imagine that there's anything harder or more important. And if you have the right guy in that position, you have a chance to have a good team. If he's got a great quarterback and he's got a great owner and the general manager stays out of his stuff. So there's a lot going on, but at the end of the day, he's got to win, just like we all do.
Yeah,
and I think they got a chance.
And if he wins,
he's a young guy.
He is. If he wins, he can engage with the fans like he did a few games ago when he was losing, and it didn't come off very well here.
Yeah.
I know you saw that because you've engaged with some fans every now and then, haven't you?
Yeah, fans are a pain in the ass, man. There's only so much you can take. After a while, you got to let loose.
You got to stand up for yourself. All right. So listen, are you still?
Yo, Mike.
What?
You know this. That fans are brutal. But we need them. That's what makes the game.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can't just jump up and down. You can't just jump up and down and go, they love me, you know, and you want to bathe in all the glory. You got to put up with the crap that comes when they don't like it.
Oh, I hear you. Hey, will we still see you? Do we still see you at the Jersey Shore?
Oh, yeah.
All right. I know you're a Jersey Shore guy.
You're going to coach in the WNBA. I said only if they move a team to Avalon.
Oh, well, speaking of that, you know, listen, you're making some pretty good cheese at UConn, but the men's coaches now are making like $9 million.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, that's just they keep talking about market rate, you know. That's all right. You know, hey, he deserves it. That son of a gun's the best coach in America, man. He deserves everything he gets. Trust me.
All right, so your career will never go to men's basketball. So I'll ask you, how long you got left with this?
Not long. You know, it's way different than it used to be. I think all the things that we valued, why we got into this job in the first place, what was important. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that the kids are getting paid. I don't love the way it's going about it, but I love the fact that they can capitalize on all this stuff. But like anything else, there's going to be a huge transition period before it settles. And I don't know if I have enough time for when it settles, but I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing until I get up one morning and go, I can't do this anymore, you know? And then whenever that is. But it's sooner rather than later. Don't get me wrong.
That's a good attitude. Geno, it's been a pleasure to talk, and I'll say it again here. I'm reading it directly from the story. Auriemma at 70 is arguably the greatest basketball coach to ever live.
I'm gonna start a podcast when I stop coaching, and I'm gonna list and I'm gonna critique all the radio guys and what they say.
Oh no! Don't do
and
that.
then I'm gonna bring on every coach that ever lived and have them say what they need to say about the media.
About the media. All right. I'll be dead by then. But Geno, thank you, man. Continued luck with you. Monday's your next game, right? So best of luck.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Mike.
All right, there he is, the great Geno Auriemma. Philly, man, he is Philly true and true, isn't he?